Press request. Oh, I gotta share it. Hold on. Oh, I gotta put this in my. Yo, what's up? There we go. I'm wonderful. How are you? Hold on, let me fix this.
We're so quick and smooth. I love that for us.
Yeah, hold on.
Lives can be stressful, I tell you, but welcome. Nice to finally meet you virtually.
Yeah, hold on. Let me.
Looks a lot more professional than mine right now.
You know, we gotta keep things looking pretty. There we go. Cool. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sliding.
Well, here, let's kick it off. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell us who you're with, and then we'll dive in.
Hold on, let me put this on top of something.
Yeah, no, of course.
I don't know why my screen is. I'm on the bottom half. I thought I would be higher.
I know. I have to always hold my neck because it cuts off the head, depending on.
Yeah, whatever. That'll work. What's up? My name's Stevey G. My company is Sculpted Studios. I've been in the SMP industry for 10 years now. I've been around a long time. I work mostly out of Miami. We've got studios also in New York City and in Phoenix, but I spend most of my time here. Yeah, but
I love that. You work side by side with the wonderful Carla, who we love.
I do. Yes. We got together. It was almost about 4 years now. Yeah, we met and quickly found some good symmetry and just took off with it. You know, it was really good timing for the two of us. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
It just goes to show the power in collaboration in this industry. When you find your people that you vibe with, magic can happen. So I love that.
Yeah, it's true.
Such talented artists. So I know
Thank you.
so many others are so excited to learn from you this month.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Holy Toledo, that's crazy. Okay, so you've said you've been in the industry for 10 years. Tell us how you got started in this industry.
So I got
What were you born and how the heck did you end up tattooing people's scalps?
right. It's kind of a crazy thing. Totally by accident. I was actually running a marketing agency, and at the time, I saw a lot of value in the medical aesthetics business. So instead of marketing for a bunch of other businesses, I decided to throw all my eggs in one basket and say, you know, forget marketing for everybody else. Let's see what we could do with this. And at that time, it was mostly like anti-aging. I had a laser, so I was doing laser hair removal, laser skin resurfacing, but I wasn't doing it. I was just running the marketing, doing the sales and things like that. And we learned about permanent makeup and being in South Florida when we were told about permanent makeup. I'm like, that stuff? You know, there's old ladies running around with purple and green eyebrows and everything like that. And for us, it was just, I was like, you sure? And the more we kind of dabbled in it, the more I found interest in it. And then SMP just kind of came on the scene. And I was like, that's interesting. At the time, I had long hair. My hair was down to my shoulders. I had like big, long, like, this was before even like man bun was a word, but I had super long hair. And we learned from a gentleman who was doing this in Israel. And I said, you know what, this could kind of be cool. So I took on the sales. You know, I grew up in South Florida. You always had to have a really nice haircut. And I was good at sales. So I did the consultations. You know, I was good at selling high ticket items, and I was good at having the conversation with men. And I would draw their hairlines in the consultations, and everybody wanted these, you know, these super straight barbershop style hairlines that, you know, I grew up with. So it was easy for me to do. And when they would come see my artist, she would draw something really natural, and they were like, where's the guy who drew this? So I started, so the sales started with like prepping the hairlines, and then we were always practicing. So we always had like a setup. We practiced with melons, so there was always like a setup in the back. And one day I was just having one of those days, and I started playing with it. And something about like how methodical it was, and the instant gratification, and kind of just like the I got super ADD, so the hyper focusedness needed for it was kind of like calming for me. So said, you know what, I think I'm gonna do this. And I practiced for about 6 months before I even touched skin. And still for like the next year, I was still poking around in the marketing world. You know, I was in the car industry selling cars, working in the bank and working with the banks and stuff. And I finally was just like, you know what? I was always chasing money. Like, there's money in exotic cars, there's money in banking, there's money. I was always chasing money. And I got tired of the hustle. And I was like, you know what? I love this. The money's cool, but I enjoy it. I can kind of just go off on my own, put my music on, do my thing, and you know, I'm gonna stop chasing money and I'm just gonna have fun. I'm just gonna enjoy myself. And of course, that's when, you know, it sounds cheesy, you know, do something you love, you never work a day in your life, but that's really what it turned into. You know, it stopped becoming this pursuit of financial gain. And once I kind of like was able to put my soul into something, it became a real business, you know, and that's, shit, that was 10 years ago, you know. So since then, I've had studios in Miami, Palm Beach, San Francisco, Phoenix, and then, yeah, and then now I've been, you know, it's been a long road, been all over the place, yeah.
I feel like that's a very incredible and also relatable story for so many, because I think even people getting into the industry might have their mind set on the money, and yes, it's important. You need to be able to, make a living. But at the end of the day, I find when you start really focusing on the why and like loving what you're doing, you actually kind of notice that money starts coming even more.
Yeah, you exactly. You find it easier. Yeah, you know, and
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that story.
and this is a business that if you don't love it, sorry for the language, but get the fuck out, because skin sucks and it's different and there's a lot of challenges. So if you're doing this for the money, it is not going to last. You'll have a good year, maybe 2 years, but this is not something that you can. It's not easy. It's not easy. No, it's not. But you know, what it no.
So, what, like, with your, and you kind of chatted a little bit about, like, wobbling back and forth, like, practicing, and then, staying with the marketing, but then trying to, some of the struggles. Tell me, what were some of the biggest struggles you faced or experienced, whether it be in business or with the technique itself? What, like, looking back, what was one of the biggest struggles, or maybe still is one of the biggest struggles?
So, I mean, on the business side, something that's difficult about this industry just in general is that, especially with SMP, is that it's a constant hunt for clients, right? I don't have anybody on the books. I get a client, I make, I get a good price for it, but I get that client and that's it. I don't have monthly reoccurrence. I don't have, so it's this marketing wheel that constantly has to get fed, and you constantly have to find clients, and it's difficult. But and you've got to kind of keep changing with what's happening with the marketing world. Social media only goes so far, and you've got your websites and your face-to-face stuff that you're doing. So that's always been a challenge. It's always going to be a challenge. But I guess that's kind of in any business. And then technique-wise, I mean, when I started, there was nothing for us. We just whatever what was out there. Yeah. We never had. We didn't have tattoo machines that were made, literally until I did it. Until I went with Micropigmentation, which was a brand new company when I got with them. But there was nothing dedicated to SMP artists. We didn't have a machine that was built like for us. We didn't have pigments. It was really nothing. So in the early days, I was buying needles and cutting them apart and soldering them back together. So the evolution of the process has really been difficult, and really not until like 2018, 2019 have we seen like big companies actually step into the industry and see that and agree that this is something valid and that they're going to sink their teeth into. You know, before that it was small guys, you know, bringing stuff in from China, slapping their names on it. But really, until some of these companies stepped in and really made it real. Now every major tattoo company is in the permanent makeup and SMP business. You know, you got the big guys, the FK Irons, the Microviews, Bishop, Cheyenne, Amia, all those all started as straight up tattoo companies, and they've all got a very, very strong hold into this marketplace. And it's amazing to see that happen, because it just shows how strong the market not only is, but where it can go. So it's nice to see that happen. But
how far it's come and
right,
how far it's going to
yeah, and you know, and now that the tools are getting better, and you know, the pigments are, you know, we've been working. Carla and I have been working with Permablend for the last 3 years, so we've been working hand in hand with the chemists and everything, and that's taken everything to a whole new level. So that's also changing what we're able to do with the art. So there's this constant push to like, okay, how can we do this better? How can we get some different styles in? How do we make this work? How do we make that work? I'm never happy with what I do. I could always do it better. There's maybe like once a month where I'm like, yes, you know, but it's part of being an artist, you know. It's a
I feel like that's one of your best and worst qualities. That we're not
yeah, right.
it can always be better.
Yeah.
There's always more that we can be.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's good.
yeah, the bar for perfection is always, I mean, it's you know, they say perfection isn't possible, but I disagree. I think it is, but it's just that what I consider perfection changes every so often, you know. So yeah, you know, we're in a game where perfection is the only option. You don't have
Well, and I think maybe your standard of perfection at one point,
exactly.
5 years from now,
Yeah,
look back and be
you
like,
got, what was I doing? Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But you know, well, yeah, you know, it's
Yeah, so if you look back at like when you started and like started actively, I would say, in the industry as an artist, what would be one piece of advice you would give yourself? And maybe, I guess, to the new artists who are starting out in the industry, whether that be permanent makeup or SMP, or even as a band in
uh,
the makeup industry, what would your piece of advice be?
I mean, the most important thing is practice. Never get comfortable. Never feel that like you've mastered your skill. You know, I've always got something set up in the back with a machine ready to play. You know, and there was a period where, you know, I straight up, I considered myself the best. I still like to consider myself that, but I got to a point where I was like, whoa, where else can I go with this? And you know, when you break through that wall, that's a whole other thing. So practice. You have to practice. There's always somebody coming up behind you ready to take your spot. You know, you can't stay still. You have to stay motivated, and you have to practice, because yeah, it's a competitive industry. When I started, there was maybe like 10 of us in the country, maybe another 10 in Europe, and now there's 10 in each city, you know, and I mean, it's a very different world, you know. So yeah, you've really gotta treat this like a business, and really gotta also like a craft, just like anything else. You have to practice and you have to stay at it. Can't stay stagnant.
No, I agree, and I think that's why even with this conference that is coming up, it's so important no matter where you are. This isn't attending events like this. It's not just for new artists, and I think we talk a lot about that. But even if you've been in this for 5 years, 10 years, there's always something that we can learn from each other. There's something that we can take away, and the connections that can be made are so helpful and beneficial, both personally and for your business, short term and long term. So I
Yeah,
think what you said there with practicing, it doesn't matter who
it's true.
you believe that you are. There's so much more to learn.
Yeah, and even somebody
That's so great.
who's doing something the way you don't agree with, or doing something differently. There's value in that. There's value in watching somebody doing something terribly wrong. You know, there's always something to pull from that. And you know, we're in a position where we're still building an industry. You know, we're still in the very early parts of an industry that has tremendous growth. We work in a space in the overlap of medical aesthetics, you know, barbers, salon worlds, you know, and all of these things kind of cross over into us. And it's been kind of looked over for a long time. There has been this kind of, I guess, a lack of awareness in the marketplace. You know, there's so many. Really until like a year or two ago, people are like, "You do what for a living? You tattoo a head? Like what? That's crazy." And even with permanent makeup, like with eyebrows, you know, really until microblading hit the space, it was still kind of like a little secret. And you know, that just speaks to how much there really is to go. Like I love when people are saying like, oh, you know, the market's dying, it's slowing down. It's always going to come in waves, but it hasn't even started yet. The average person has no idea. You know, most of them have no idea what we do. And when that becomes standard practice, when it's looked at something as like with what I do, you know, everybody knows what a hair transplant is. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what you do, everyone's seen the infomercials on TV or whatever. Everyone's heard of it, but no one knows what this is. Or everybody wears makeup. They know about makeup, but they don't know you can get your brows done or your lips done or these things. And that's changing. And yeah. Well, you know, that's the other like super fucked up part about our industry is that people don't see the good work, right? Like the better the work is, the more it goes unnoticed. So the standard in the marketplace becomes what's visible. So they see the guy with the blue head, they see the lady with the green eyebrows, they see the mistakes, and that becomes the standard. So what's important about these shows and about just creating the conversation to bring awareness, and rather than fighting for, like, you know, we saw this in the early days of SMP where we're fighting for our piece of the pie, right? None of us spoke. None of us talked to each other. We were all enemies. You know, I'm not telling you what needles I use, what pigments I use. There was no conversation whatsoever. Once we kind of broke through that, there was this, you know, this overall awareness started to grow, and we realized like, wow, this pie has gotten so much bigger. And the same thing will happen with just in the industry as a whole. Like I said, we're still in the early days, and there's people who have been doing this 10 years longer than I have, and it's, you know, it's been not really in the SMP world, but in the typical permanent makeup space. So it's super exciting. You know, I think all of us as you know, the veteran professionals kind of have a duty and kind of owe it to the industry to give back and create this awareness and help really make sure that this succeeds, you know, to make sure that the work gets better and stays better, and that the standard in the conversation is that like this is real and it works and it looks great, and you should get it, because otherwise we're all screwed. but that's what's good about these conferences. You know, every major industry has their big conferences. They all get together, whether they're competing or not. You know, there's always something to be done. So it's amazing to see organizations like the AAM really like starting to creating like standard operations and standard regulations and stuff, which is desperately needed. So when that and that's important. That's important, and we all need to play our part into making sure that that's something that's
something across the board. Like I'm in Canada, and even the rules, like I look at the rules state to state, and it's
crazy.
The regulations and standards. That doesn't exist in Canada. Literally, you could order a machine off Amazon and get your space health safety approved, and you are good to go. And there are no
Yeah.
rules
It's
So that's why, yeah, things like this, they're so important. And this
yeah.
industry, you're totally right, is still just a baby. There's so much growth and so much learning to be done. Um, it's exciting to see where it's going to
It
go.
is. It is exciting.
Twice SMP just said, when and where is the show? It is in beautiful California.
To California.
This month.
Yeah, was it the 20th,
I
right?
want to say, I should know this because
Right, yeah. It's 20th. Well, mine's online. Mine's recorded, so I won't be there. But yeah, the 20th. I don't know what time mine's playing, but yeah.
third. Oh, the 23rd, yes. We'll send you a message, March with SMP, so
Right.
I can send you all the info. But you can also come over to the AAM page and click the link in our bio, and we have all of the information regarding the AAM PNU Summit. And yeah, there will be over 30 speakers like yourself who are so incredible and so full of knowledge and experience. And I know, as I said, that myself and so many artists have been so excited to learn from you.
Thank you.
You are truly incredible at what you do, and I love the passion and honestly, again, the experience that you bring. It's really inspiring and really exciting to get to learn from someone.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited to.
That's nice to hear. Thank you so much. Yeah, cool. I'm excited to bring some new information. Where a lot of things are changing with how we operate. So I've always been at the front of that. I've always been pushing for innovation and change, and a lot of the stuff people have been calling me crazy for 5 6 years ago are now becoming just standard practice. And when all of this started, we, like I said, with the machines, even as far as like what information was out there, is we only had what was available. So the Fitzpatrick scale existed, so we just used it. And definitions that were made specifically for the medical world or for estheticians and all of these things that were made for other people, we tried to make fit into our industry. And now after really watching the evolution and watching what's been able to be possible, now that is starting to change. We're starting to see that the Fitzpatrick scale it's got nothing to do with skin color. This is not a way that we can, that it doesn't tell us anything about the skin color, undertones. It's not made for that. So, that's a big thing that Carla and I have been into, is stepping back and saying, like, how do we create something that's for us, that helps us classify how we can operate, and not take what's been there for other people and take that, and make it work for us, rather than saying, hey, what we do is real. There's research behind it. There's case studies. There's real science behind this art, and we're now in a position where we can prove that, and it changes a lot of things. It really does, because the permanent makeup industry is, Carla and I joke about it all the time, is the education has been like the longest game of telephone ever, right? Like, somebody learned something or figured something out, and they taught it to somebody, and that person, regurgitated it to the next person, and the next person, and the next person. To the point it's just been assumed to be true, and then watered down and changed to the point where, like, well, how do you know that? Is it true? Is it proven? Like, where are the facts? And we've kind of taken a step back to the point of looking at, like, okay, where are the hard facts? Let's look at, years and years of case studies and go, ooh, that worked, that didn't work, that worked great, shouldn't have done that, let's try this. And there's this evolution that I keep talking about that keeps happening. But, you really don't get to see what your work looks like for, 2 to 3 years. So, you do some things, you have those people start coming back in a couple years, and you go, okay, well, I should be doing this. And that's that first step in evolution, and all that gets applied. And then those people start coming back, and then there's another step. So it's, we're in a really interesting place with this industry. I'm super excited to see what these next 3 to 5 years are gonna do. I think we're gonna have an insane next 3 years. I think we're going to have some really exponential growth, and excited for
Well,
that.
I have to tell you, Smart Choice SMP says appreciate the knowledge, Steve.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
I agree.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it. As I said, if you want to learn from incredible artists like Steve and so many others who will be at this event, make sure you go register for the AAM Summit. And make sure you give Steve a follow over at Sculpted Studios. And I agree with everything you are saying tenfold. And I am, as I said before, I am so excited to get to learn from you.
Cool.
And apply your incredible knowledge to my own practice. And so I know so many other artists feel the same way. So thank
Yeah,
you
cool.
so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Your knowledge.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. And yeah, I'll see you guys at the end of the month.
See you.
See you. Yeah, you too. Bye.